A relentless rainstorm batters the deserted port town of Port Haven. The salty Siren Tavern offers a faint glimmer of warmth amid the storm's fury. The tavern is dimly lit. The air hangs heavy with stale ale and unwashed bodies. The sounds of sailors, clinking glasses, and a mournful sea shanty fill the air. Elara Vance, cloaked, enters cautiously. Elara enters the dimly lit tavern, her senses navigating through the shadows and murmurs. Her gaze locks onto Captain Silas, a figure etched with time and sorrow, shrouded in the tavern's gloom. Elara approaches Captain Silas, her steps hushed in the crowded space. The tavern pulses with the raucous energy of drunken sailors, the air thick with the aroma of stale ale. Elara's voice slices through the tavern's clamor, sharp and commanding.
Captain Silas? Elara calls out, her voice demanding attention.
Silas, a weathered man, remains absorbed in his tankard, his expression distant and contemplative. Silas responds, his voice low and gravelly.
Who's asking?
In the dim tavern light, Elara stands tall, her declaration cutting through the smoky air. Silas, a man etched with the harshness of the sea, responds to Elara's introduction with a dismissive sneer. Harrington, that old fool, still meddling in things he doesn't understand. Elara's voice rings with authority as she reveals her mission, underscoring its importance.
My mission is to chart the Crimson Coast. Harrington believes you are the only one capable of navigating its treacherous waters.
In the salty Siren Tavern, Silas sits alone, his gaze lost in haunting memories. Silas gestures to the barkeep, a haunted look in his eyes. He speaks, a tremor in his voice.
Expertise? I've sailed those waters, girl. I've seen what they hide.
His voice lowers, heavy with sorrow.
I've lost too much to those waters. I'm done with the Crimson Coast.
Elara gently places a pouch of coins on the worn wooden table. Silas glances at the coins, his expression unreadable, surrounded by the thick scent of ale and unfulfilled promises. Elara says,
Lord Harrington is offering a generous sum, enough to ease any burdens you might have.
Inside the dimly lit tavern, the air hangs heavy with the sense of salt water and stale ale as Elara and Silas face each other across the worn table. Silas leans forward, his voice a low rumble as he speaks of the coast.
The coast. It's not about the money, girl. It's about the ghosts.
He continues, his voice laced with sorrow.
They cling to those shores, whispering your name, reminding you of what you've lost.
Silas reveals his haunting past.
I buried my wife there, you see. Lost to a storm, a rogue wave, or something else.
He concludes, his voice dropping to a whisper.
Something the coast doesn't readily give up.
In the dimly lit tavern, Elara leans forward, her voice barely audible above the murmur of the crowd. Elara speaks softly.
I understand you've suffered a great loss, but Lord Harrington's intention isn't to disturb the past, but to understand the present.
She continues,
to create a safe passage for others.
Silas turns, his eyes reflecting the weight of unspoken pain. He speaks, his voice tinged with the harsh reality of the Crimson Coast. Safe passage? There is no safe passage on the Crimson Coast, only degrees of danger. Barnaby approaches the table, wiping it down with a rag. Trouble brewing.
Captain?
Silas replies.
Just a persistent young lady, Barnaby.
Barnaby leans in.
Harrington's sending you, eh? He's got a way of digging up trouble.
Amid the raucous din of the salty siren, Elara stands firm, trying to sound convincing. I'm simply trying to secure a captain for a legitimate charting expedition. Barnaby erupts in laughter, dismissing her claim with a scoff.
Legitimate, you say? On the Crimson Coast? That's a good one.
Barnaby turns and walks away, shaking his head, leaving Elara alone at the bar. Elara turns her gaze back to Silas, her expression earnest.
Captain, I'm not asking you to confront your past.
She begins, her voice filled with conviction.
I'm asking you to use your skills to help me complete a task that could benefit many.
In the dimly lit tavern, Elara stands at the bar, her silhouette a study in shadows and determination. Her voice softens to a whisper, barely audible above the tavern's clamor.
Her voice softens to a whisper, barely audible above the tavern's clamor. I'm a cartographer, not a sailor.
Her plea hangs in the air, seeking a guide through treacherous waters. I need someone who knows those waters, someone who can keep us safe. Inside the dimly lit tavern, Silas stares intently, his expression a mystery. Rain lashes against the windows as he sighs, a deep sound of resignation. Silas warns with a heavy tone.
All right, girl. All right. But don't say I didn't warn you. The Crimson Coast, it takes more than just a map to survive it.
Silas' hand moves deliberately toward the pouch of coins, testing its weight. Elara watches Silas, her expression a blend of relief and apprehension as the moment of decision arrives. Silas declares with finality, we sail with the dawn.
We sail with the dawn.